I heard that.
When you begin to follow Christ, did you ever think, I can never be a missionary? That's not my thing. My thing is more in tech areas, and tech areas are not in the Bible. Why would God want me to serve? I think I'd best sit on the sidelines and give my offering on a regular basis. Today, we get to hear from my friend Greg Johnson, an electronic and computer engineer, a friend who he reminded me sits on the opposite end of the same pew most Sundays in our church, Grace Church, San Luis Obispo. But it's funny how we don't talk all that often. I think it's because we're both extroverts and we're always talking to other people. Greg, welcome to Welcome Heart Living a Legacy podcast. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation.
Oh, sure. Tell us a little bit about your upbringing, what brought you to San Luis Obispo, and your family. We'll start there.
I was raised in the LA area, Los Angeles area.
Okay.
My dad was in aerospace, and so that's where our family was at. Was
What
near.
town? What town in LA?
Well, I was born in Santa Monica and
Okay.
then raised in the western part of the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
Um, so the northwest corner of the San Fernando Valley.
Okay.
Um, it, Canoga Park was the city name, and I think
Oh,
now
sure.
it would be West Hills.
Oh,
So
really? They changed the
yeah,
name,
well, somebody did. Somebody didn't like.
huh?
Um,
I grew up down there too. That's why I asked, because I'm from Palos Verdes and then worked
yeah,
in Whittier. So
yeah,
close to Santa Monica.
yeah. Well, Bonnie went to high school in Palos Verdes, so my
Okay.
wife Bonnie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And
anyway,
how many kids?
we have four daughters. And
Yay!
yes, yes. A former minister at Grace Church, every time I'd go up to him to tell him that, we were going to have another child, and he reach out my hand and shake my hand, and he says, "It's going to be a girl."
Was that Pastor Keller?
No, that was Lars Soderholm.
Oh, how sweet. Oh, because he has so many girls.
He had
Well, I
four.
I have three, so I adore it. Plus, when we had our first, there were three adult Bonnies at our church, and that's where I got the name. Your
Hmm.
wife, Bonnie Maston, and another Bonnie, I can't remember her last name, and I just thought it was so unique. And of course, your Bonnie has red hair, so that's another thing we have in common. So great.
Yeah.
So what brought you to San Luis, however?
I came to San Luis to go to Cal Poly.
Okay.
So I came to be a student and started going to church, Grace Church, and got involved in the college ministry uh, there and other things at Grace, and then met Bonnie there in the college group leadership team. So
Well, see, sometimes that works.
yeah,
That's a blessing. As a
yeah.
younger believer, Greg, did you ever struggle with knowing how or thinking about how God might want to use you for his kingdom? Did you think
Uh,
about it?
so it's funny. I think you stole the words right out of my mouth in your introduction.
That's the Lord.
Well, and I literally remember telling somebody when I was in high school that I really feel that God's given me the desire to be an engineer, and I'll be able to have a good salary and help support missionaries and my
Oh,
local
wow.
church. So I was probably 17 or 18 when I said that, and it was very
Wow.
distinctive.
Hmm.
Um, another interesting thing that happened when the associate minister, a very old gentleman, heard that I wasn't going to Biola, um, I literally got called into the pastor's office
That's hilarious.
and closed the door,
Let me
and
explain to the audience. Biola is a Christian college university in Southern California, but go ahead.
yes. So I said I want to be an engineer, and he says you really should be going to Bible college, and
Wow.
um, he paused awkwardly long and then said, "Okay, go get your degree."
Hmm.
And he says, "Learn how to fix radios, and you can be the guy that fixes radios for
On the mission field.
missionaries." And so um, I'll tell the rest of the story about that later, but
Okay. Well,
that's
I did it discourage you though to hear this from an older gentleman?
no, I was not discouraged at all.
Mm.
As somebody I've heard recently put it, there are people that go and there are people that send people.
Hmm.
And my dad was an example. He was one that gave to the Lord's work, and he wasn't one that he served in the local community. He served at the local church. Yeah.
Yeah. And before I go on, my folks were ones that had supported so many missionaries. And I know it was hard on the missionaries when they finally passed away in their 90s because they were no longer getting that support. But when I told my dad, I'm going to go to Brazil with Wycliffe Bible translators, he said, now you'll never get married. That's what he said. And I told him, Dad, if I'm supposed to marry a coffee plantation owner, I better get down there, which
Yeah.
made him laugh.
Hmm.
But they struggled through my years of and saw that God was working in spite of myself. So,
Yeah.
do you think that one kind of service for God is more important than another? And how did you come to grips with that?
I can remember that my dad got me involved in serving at the local church when I was very young. He
Mm.
was on the church maintenance committee, and I spent Saturdays, many Saturdays at church sweeping, pulling weeds, and things like that. So I knew
Wonderful.
you could serve in other capacities.
Hmm.
And so I was trained and by example did more practical things in serving as
Hmm.
as I grew up.
Hmm. I know you worked with my husband Mark many, many times in Mexico,
Hmm.
but you were not doing tech support at that time, and Mark mostly wasn't doing medicine unless someone got hurt.
Yeah.
Share with our audience about your church relationship and service with Amor Ministries, AMOR, through the years. I noticed that you said you went on 16 trips to Mexico out of 20 with the youth at Grace Church San Luis Obispo. How did you get involved?
So we have daughters, and when they were in high school,
Yeah.
they said that they wanted to go, and I encouraged them to go. And after them going a couple of years, my friends told me that I really needed to go to see how hard my kids worked,
Oh.
that they wouldn't directly rat them out, but that it was just and my kids said, yeah, you really, really need to go.
Mm.
And so I got to go with two of my kids um, the first time I went. And
Wow.
to me, that trip was such a blessing because the stress that I was under in my job at that point,
Mm.
to have a single focus of somebody else
Hmm.
and to be unplugged. I'm trying to think if I had a cell phone assigned to me the first time I went. Yeah, I had a cell phone assigned to me from work
Hmm.
first time I went, but I could turn it off. I turned it off at the border, and so for 4 days south of the border, there was no job stress.
And you were working for a nuclear power plant, so that in itself sounds stressful to me.
Yeah, yeah. There was a period of time where I went to the doctor many times, and he told me there was nothing wrong with me.
Really?
So, yeah.
It was the job.
Well, I have to assume that.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm.
so I went with my kids, and it honestly, it was selfish at first to be isolated from the pressures of work. And then when they like graduated out, I kept going. And I've met people of different that are a lot younger than me, and it builds relationships, multi-generational relationships. That is just to me the big plus. And my dad was an engineer, and we built things in the garage, and so swinging a hammer and doing stuff, it's therapeutic. And so building relationships, serving somebody. Well, I look at it that they could never repay us for
Hmm.
the effort that we put into in the house that they got out of it. And it's a, it's like a picture of what Jesus has done for us.
So
He's
finish that thought though, Greg. What did that mean to you that they could never repay you?
it was we could see how emotionally grateful they were when
Hmm.
we handed them the keys to the building that we had. And they financially just couldn't pay for the materials to
Hmm.
build the structure or have the labor. And, it's a father and mother and a couple of young kids typically, or grandmas and grandpas. And, it's we've the team gave them a gift that they could almost never repay.
Wow.
And I know some people try to pay their way into heaven, and we got to give them a gift. All they had to do was reach out and grab the keys.
Mhm.
And Jesus has offered us a gift and all we have to do is accept
Mhm.
the gift that he's given to us.
That's beautiful. Yeah, after our kids outgrew the Mexico trips, which basically is driving over the border and being assigned by a more ministry, a place where we can build maybe up to 3 to 5 houses sometimes in a week's time with no power, which always people were stunned that my kids were out there pushing cement around in a wheelbarrow. All the wheelbarrows you brought. How many wheelbarrows?
Mhm.
You remember?
Typically, there's 8 wheelbarrows to a building site.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it
Well,
just depends on how many people you have available to mix
yeah.
concrete. And so up
Yeah.
to 8.
After the girls went off to college, Mark kept going as well.
Yeah.
And it's
Yes.
because he likes to build.
Yes. Well, I
And
know
his one of his spiritual gifts is
that.
service. So
Yeah.
he had such joy. He come home smelling like a rat, but
Uh-huh.
not the bad kind of rat.
Uh-huh.
Did you ever wonder, is God changing me more through these service times or the people we serve?
Um, God reveals his plan for our life day by day, minute by minute. And I didn't understand what he was doing in my life by having that desire to go serve people like that. Um, so now I forget the question. What was
The question I said, is God changing me more through the service times or the people we serve? So finish the thought. God reveals his plan for my life day by day. Is that what you learned by doing this service?
um I he was changing me. He was developing compassion and a desire to give back to people. Like I said, I mean, we gave things that they couldn't
Right.
ever repay. But he worked in my life in helping me, like I said, building relationships. I mean, that's so key in in doing that ministry. And then um, my job my job was mainly I was I didn't take a career path to be going into management. I took a career path of being technical
Right.
and developing my technical skills. So, but I had been trained as a, a young man to be a leader,
Oh.
and so the training that I got as a young man rolled over into serving on these trips to Mexico. So.
Mm. After working on your career for 40 years as an engineer in a nuclear power plant, why did you know it was time to retire? And did you wonder in advance what you might do next?
Um, Yeah, so I had no idea how my life was going to drastically change after I retired. I had gone to the employer actually gave us classes on how to, you know, structure your life after
Wow.
retirement because it was going to be a void. Um, Shortly after retirement, the college pastor at Grace said they needed people to mentor college students. And I talked it over with my wife and then volunteered for that. And so, but I knew it was time to retire for a couple of reasons. Um, the stress was always there.
Wow.
Um, and wasn't good at leaving the stress in the driveway in my car,
Oh
and
dear.
it came through the front door with me
Poor
on
Bonnie.
many occasions. And then there were times where I was on call, and
Yeah,
in the middle of the night I had to leave
sure.
to go take care of things. So I knew it was time for a couple of reasons. They were talking about closing the power plant, and they were giving incentives, retention bonuses. And so I had gotten 4 years of retention bonuses, and I was going to have to sign up for 3 more years.
Oh
And
dear.
I said, no, I, and I'm an engineer. I had a spreadsheet. I did the math, um,
It wasn't going to be worth it.
it wasn't going to be worth it. Really, it wasn't going to be worth it. And
Good for
uh,
you.
I was fortunate to know what my plans were from that of retiring, and I was planning on retiring well before I told them I was going to retire.
Okay.
And I basically wrote the book on how to do my job. And so the day I said I was going to retire, um, they were concerned, and then I handed them the notebook.
And you've been writing it all along?
I'd been writing it for 2 years.
Well, that's a gift that you gave them.
Well, so we had younger engineers, and I had them test things out.
Hmm.
And so it just things worked out.
Wonderful.
Financially, we were going to be okay. Health-wise, we were okay. Um, and it was just the time to part company. So, and
And
40 years was my goal.
okay.
So, yeah,
So you reached your goal.
I had
And
reached my goal.
can I ask how old you are now?
I'm 68 now.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah.
As our pastor Tim is fond of saying, people don't retire, we retread.
Yes.
And I always like that because I don't know, I've been in several different careers. I just go from one to one to one. And people say, how's
Mm-hmm.
the empty nest? I go, I don't remember. I'm so busy.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
that's good. Just, it doesn't matter what we do, it's that we're doing it for Jesus. What other ministries are you currently working in before we get to talking about Samaritan's Purse?
I'm we talked about Mexico.
Right.
I'm in the planning stages for the 2026 trip.
You're going to go again?
Yeah,
Wow.
gosh, yeah. So I say I want to keep going until I'm 1 year less than Ken Pete, and that I'm younger than Paul Sir. I think Paul holds the record for the oldest man going,
Oh, wow.
and Ken holds the record for the most times going. And
I think
I,
Paul Sir got in an accident the first day he was there. My husband was there as a doctor to help him stitch up a hand or something. But I'm glad he's still going.
well, no, Paul's no longer going.
Oh, he's not.
So
Okay.
yes, so
Um, so
so
you,
I'm involved in the Mexico missions work. I'm involved in the church pantry ministry, and I'm involved in college ministries at church.
and do you and Bonnie still host a growth group for singles?
No, we do not anymore. So
Okay.
we're a part of another group. Um,
Okay.
so I say I'm the pinch hitter um, for leading the group
Okay.
when our leader's out of town. I'll lead
And
the
tell
group.
us about God's Storehouse. What do you do for them and what is it?
Okay, so it's the food pantry ministry. We have people that pick up donations from grocery stores, Costco, Whole Foods, Vons, things like that. And then the food bank brings food to us. And Grace is a distribution point for food on Saturday morning. And it's a giveaway. You just line up in line, and there's limitations on how much you can grab. But so I'm one of the I'm one of the people who goes to a supermarket and picks up donations. I picked up, um, for the most part, it's just what I can fit in my truck. But
Yeah.
I've done different things. There were times where the food bank wasn't delivering, and a generous person loaned us their box truck, and I would drive the box truck behind Trader Joe's and fill it up, and then off
Wow.
to the food bank and fill it up, and then over to Vaughn's and
Fill it
lower the
up.
lift gate and push shopping carts onto the lift gate into the bank.
Wow.
So that's an extreme case, and that
Yeah.
only went on for a couple of months. But for the most part, it's just my pickup truck, and I pick up food and drop it off at the church
Yeah.
on Saturday.
It's amazing. When I see people who need food, if I have cash, I try to give it to them, but I also say there's free food on Saturdays at Grace Church
Yeah.
downtown. And of course, sometimes they say, well, I'm hungry now. But I said, okay, but you can still go every Saturday and fill up a bag. And they do have cards too. I found that out
Yeah.
from Ken P
So,
to give them the address because a lot of
right.
people are homeless downtown, and that's where our church
Mhm.
is.
So I have baggies of snack food that also has the card in it.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's a
so
good
I
idea.
hand out baggies that
Hmm.
have a little bit of stuff to eat for right now
Yeah,
and the card so they know where to go on
yeah,
Saturday.
it's a great idea. We need to remind people they can pick up those cards.
Yeah.
Come on, Greg, let's change the church. That's what we do, these old people. Um, as what are you doing now for the kingdom, and how did that come about?
Okay. So after I retired, and that was 2021, was excited that we were potentially going to go to Mexico again after COVID, at taking off 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
And I was very excited.
Yeah.
And February of 22, they canceled the Mexico trip. And I heard that the college students were going to Ecuador. So I immediately signed up for that.
Good for you.
And that was canceled.
Oh,
And
because of COVID or because of unrest?
leadership, both cases, it was leadership. They didn't have the leaders that they needed to make the trips go. And
Hmm.
so
From Grace or in the organizations?
from Grace,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So the Mexico trip takes about 7 key leaders, and I was unfamiliar with the Ecuador trip.
Okay.
But that was about the time, well, it was the end of February of 2022, the Russians invaded Ukraine.
Hmm.
And one of the missionaries from Grace Church, the Overtons, had been in Ukraine and left to go to Poland, but they shared a Facebook story about this group called Samaritan's Purse
Hmm.
building a hospital in a parking garage in Western Ukraine. And it was just like, who are these people?
Wow.
How the heck do you do that?
A
And I
hospital in a parking garage.
emergency field hospital in a parking garage,
Wow.
and with surgical suites,
Wow.
with an ER, with they had the ICU, the whole thing. And it was just like, who are these people and how do they do this?
Mhm.
And I started investigating who Samaritan's Purse is, and that was March. And in April, I applied to Samaritan's Purse.
Wow.
So I just lost contact with you.
Oh, I'm here.
Okay, something happened.
So in April, you applied not knowing whether you went. Kind of
Well,
like,
in April, I applied to the organization. I applied to a technical position
mhm.
in their what they call Disaster Assistance Response Team, or DART for short.
Okay, just to be on call for different disasters.
Right. So
Oh,
you're on call, part-time actual employee of the ministry.
do you get
And
paid?
you get paid a small stipend when you're in the field. You
Okay.
get paid for your training time. And
Okay.
and so I signed up, and I It was June of 22, and I had just finished doing my drug test as a part of being employed.
Hmm.
I was literally driving home from the drug test, and the phone rings, and I pull over and I answer the phone, and they said, "Can you do your drug test today? And could you be ready to go on Saturday?"
Wow.
And I said, I'm not even on the books yet. And I said, I have a doctor's appointment next week, and I told you that conditionally I would accept to go based upon the outcome of that doctor's appointment. I'm a cancer treatment survivor. So
Right.
you don't know if you're okay until you go to the doctor every year. So I just said, I'll tell you in a week. And they said, well, that's not going to work. And
Oh,
so
wow.
I, so even before I was in the book, so they were giving me an
How
opportunity.
soon after then did you get called?
I got called in September.
Okay. So this was
So
from June to September.
right. And that gave me time to go through training, meet other people, and get to know a lot more about Samaritan's Purse. So,
Describe Samaritan's Purse. Why did they take that name?
it's part of the story of the Good Samaritan
Of course.
that Jesus told. A lawyer asked Jesus, um, um, who is my brother? When Jesus said to love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor as yourself, Jesus responded, well, the lawyer responded,
Who's my neighbor?
who's my neighbor?
Yeah.
And Jesus told the story of somebody getting beat up and robbed and left for dead on the side of the road. And religious leaders stayed on the opposite side of the path. And then it was the Samaritan who had compassion and crossed over to the injured man and took care of him. And so Samaritan's Purse wants to help people in their time of need. And and they the DART group is people with very diverse skill sets, medical, finance, logistics. It's a whole you name it, and there's a spot for anybody. So
Greg, repeat the words for DART.
disaster assistance response team.
Okay. How is it different from the Red Cross?
Jesus.
There we go.
Well, the you're not you're looking for the opportunity to serve people's physical needs when they're at a time of need. And the question you hope they ask is, why are you
Why are you
doing
doing
this?
this? Yeah.
And
Huh.
so that opens the door to share. And it even opens the door to share in countries where you're not supposed to share. And so the helping people is just the is building the bridge to share the gospel. I've heard it said that Samaritan's Purse is a evangelistic ministry that does disaster response work. So
I feel like um, we can do this every day at home.
yes,
It doesn't have to be a disaster. It can be taking
no,
banana bread across the street when
yeah.
you don't even talk to your neighbor. Everything is building a bridge to share the gospel. So we never waste our life if we always had that in mind, Greg. It's so beautiful. Um, is it different from compassion? I get those two mixed up. Compassion has to do with children.
Well,
You don't
Samaritan,
have to answer that if you don't know.
yeah. So I'm not really familiar with compassion. I know that there's a big part of Samaritan's Purse ministry called Operation Christmas Child.
Oh, yeah.
People pack shoe boxes with gifts. They add a gospel message to it, and millions of shoe boxes go out across the world. So I got to do that. I got to work in a processing center loading those great huge shipping containers
Mm-hmm.
with, I think it's 490 cartons fit in a shipping container. And you pack it all the way to the top
Wow.
and then before you close the doors, we put our hands on the boxes and pray for God's protection and God's purpose to go forward
Mm,
and protect the shoe boxes that are gospel opportunities for
wow.
millions of kids every year. So anyway,
A friend of mine said that her old pastor would say, love them till they ask you why, which
yeah,
reminded me of what you just
yeah,
said.
yeah,
Yeah, they say, why are you doing this for me?
yeah. So
How did you know it was and is a good fit for you at Samaritan's Purse?
um, I I would say I share the same gift your husband does, that I'm in my happy place when I get to serve the needs of others and I get to help. I think God, I, he just reinforced that as being a part of Samaritan's Purse. I get to use the skills and the gifts and the talents. Because I'm retired, I have time,
Mhm.
and it's just in serving Jesus. And I I'm aligned with their statement of faith,
Yeah.
and I'm aligned with sharing the gospel.
Hmm.
It's
What?
made me bolder to share the gospel.
Oh, in what way?
Well, okay, so part of my interview to just be on board, it was one of these one-way interviews where you had to turn on your camera for your computer and the question would flash on your screen and you had, 90 seconds to respond and the question flashed up. So one of your neighbors has asked you how you become a Christian. Please respond to that. And then the numbers started counting down 10, 9, 8, 7. And so you had 90 seconds to share the gospel. And I must have answered right, but I had a non-Christian friend that I was sharing the process that I was going through.
Yeah.
And I told her about this question and she goes, "How did you answer that?"
Oh, goody.
Sue, if I had never ever been asked to be a part of this organization and just that opportunity just reinforced that this is where the Lord wanted me to be, so that I have opportunity.
That's
Because
a bonus.
I've gotten to go places, and people are always interested.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
where did you go, and
And
why did you
why?
go? Yeah,
And sometimes you have to say, you can't say everything because it's secret or what?
yeah, yeah. So, we go places where they're um, in my case, I've only been to conflict zones.
Oh,
And for the safety of the people who are still there, the locations are, um, oh, how would you,
confidential.
confidential, yes. So,
Mhm.
and
Okay.
for the sake of the gospel continuing to go forward, um, not much
Yeah.
can be said.
Well, Wycliffe Bible Translator, same thing. You just have to say, they're over there in the
They're over
east.
there. Yeah.
Keep praying.
Yeah.
What gets you excited about helping this ministry?
Um, I get to use my giftedness. I get to use what the Lord's given to me and to help people. And again, it's just like you're just waiting for that question. Why are you doing this?
Mhm.
And so my last trip I can talk about, I was in Mississippi after an ice storm, and we were cleaning up people's yards, and I was just all real intense physical labor, chainsaw work, and stuff like that.
So
And
not tech. You don't always do tech.
not tech.
Wow.
Yeah, dragging branches, using a chainsaw to cut up trees and things like that. And this one gal, mom of multiple kids, and my heart just broke. And I told her the story of that I had people at my church that were like truly my family, and they were praying for me while I was there,
Mm.
and that I have non-biological sons and daughters, and I love them to death, and they care about me, and I have brothers and sisters that care about me. And she said, I need that.
Oh.
She says, I don't have that in my life. And she's been going to church ever since. Somebody somebody, the Samaritan's Purse sends chaplains every place they send people like me. And the
Mhm.
chaplains come and talk with people after and make sure they know about their whether they're going to heaven or going to hell, you know.
That's their giftedness.
That's their giftedness, right? They're not dragging tree
Nope.
branches, or
Nope.
they are gifted evangelists that are part of the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association
Wow.
that's in partnership with
I
Samaritan's Purse.
didn't know that.
Oh yeah. So we're the yeah, we
What kind of a person would we need to be to work for this ministry? Maybe one of our listeners is thinking, huh, maybe I could do this, but maybe I couldn't.
oh, you can. So there's volunteer things here in the States. So I've done two volunteer trips. One was the Mississippi trip, and then I also went to Lahaina after the fires in Maui. So there's all sorts of different types of things. You don't have to have skills to be a volunteer here in the US.
Okay.
To be a part of DART, there's specific skills that you would apply for um, positions that are skilled positions.
Okay.
So if you want to volunteer, you don't have to have any skills. You just have to have that desire to try something different in serving the Lord.
Well, I think some people can feel really stuck in serving the Lord, like it's this is what I do.
Oh
They
no,
get bored, but this thing
no.
would really keep you from being bored.
Oh, very much so. So I liken it to you think when you were a little kid in grammar school and they were picking teams and you are going, pick me. And it's that's what it's like. I mean,
Wow.
just the people I know that are involved in the ministry, it's like it's a joy. It's an absolute joy to get the opportunity to serve
Mm.
these folks in need. So if you need joy in your life,
I'm speaking on joy next week. I'll tell all the ladies.
yeah,
How has this changed you to work with them?
um, I compassion's that key word. It's I've seen nurses in emergency field hospitals and other people that were non-nursing people just demonstrating compassion and care in ways that I had never seen done before. I'm pretty blessed that I haven't spent a lot of time in a hospital, you know? So, but to see these nurses in action, to see these doctors in action, just caring about people. I I think it's softened me up big time. Um, my wife says she likes the guy who comes back better than the guy who left.
Oh.
That God has really softened my heart.
Mm.
Being a father of four gals, I don't think I think I've cried more with my kids since I've started being in this ministry than I did at all in as they were growing up. I can cry with my kids now, and I
Mhm.
couldn't do that before.
Wow, that's a big
Um,
change for an engineer, let me tell
yeah, I mean, there are days that I
you.
get emotional just singing worship songs on Sunday morning, and it's like, oh shoot, I have to use the best
Yeah,
my
that's why you
and
say
I
that.
so I say God's really softened my heart, and I desire to be more compassionate and to share that compassion like Jesus had for people who were hurting and in need.
Do you have a trip coming up, or can you tell us?
I they called us yesterday and said, well, we got a message yesterday. The DART people got a message yesterday, and they said, okay, this is DART is not just U.S. It's Canada, UK, Australia. It's all over the world. But the message was, okay, U.S. DART people, there's a like a category 4 typhoon that just clobbered Guam and is clobbering islands north of Guam. We're considering if the ministry can go. And it's like,
Wow,
tell us if you're available. So
that's exciting.
yeah. So
What a way to see the world. I used to say, see the world as a missionary before you get married so you don't have to worry about other people at home. It was a great way to see the world, but also to serve the God, but also because of all the changes he made in me. And obviously, he makes in all of us when we're willing to surrender. As you know, this is a legacy podcast. What legacy
yep.
do you want to pass down to those who know and love you?
Serve the Lord. Use your skills, your talents, your gifts, your time, your finances, your energy, all are one of those things to serve him. And it
Mm,
doesn't, and what's fun is it you don't have to be the Sunday school teacher.
mm,
You don't have to be the minister. You don't have to be the music leader.
mhm.
You can be the person handing out worship folders or filling up the coffee pot or delivering food or whatever. So yeah, I would say that's what I'm trying to be an example of that
Mhm.
to the people I know and love.
Mm. It's a beautiful legacy. I already know how you're currently doing that, but did you want to add anything to that? That was the second.
Um, so I like serving outside of the four walls of the church.
Mhm.
So I also drive college students from the university to church on
Mhm. The
Sundays.
ones who
And
don't have cars.
yeah, so the freshmen aren't supposed to have cars. And
Yeah.
so it's just, again, here's that multi-generational aspect. That's that building relationships. That's letting people know that God values them, God cares about them. And as part of Grace's helping people find and follow Jesus and give them a ride to church so they can
I've had
find.
so many college kids say that's what they love about our church. We're not the most popular church in town, and that doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But the ones who love it because there's old people like us there.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we invite them into our lives, which is good
yeah,
for us and good for them.
yeah.
What changes did you have to make or obstacles did you have to overcome to help make that happen?
Um,
Retire.
well, so retire I had time. I knew I was going to have
Mm,
time, and so I don't think I don't think working was an obstacle because I was still doing other things before that.
sure.
So I don't know. Yeah, that one's hard.
It's okay.
There's no
And how do you embody the welcoming heart of God? In other words, how do you show your world that they are invited to his table? It doesn't mean hospitality at your food table necessarily.
well, I think we through Samaritan's Purse and then opportunities through churches, we're going to people and saying, God hasn't forgotten about you. You're important, and we're here to serve your needs. And we're not so much inviting them to the table, but just taking care of them.
Which is a way of inviting them to God's table.
That's correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
God hasn't forgotten about you, and we're here to serve you.
Yes. Yes.
That's great. You are an inspiration, Greg. I hope you live many more years. People need you out there, and you have such great joy. I've seen you talking to other people, trying to talk my husband into it. He's not ready to retire yet.
Well, shoot. I mean, they'd love him. They really
I know.
would.
I know, in
So
many ways.
one of
So
my trips, the we had to spread gravel out, and the doctors came out of the hospital and helped spread the gravel out. The
that
nurses that had worked night shift were out there spreading the gravel out. It's people who want to serve in any which way, whether it's their skills that they've developed or just whatever. So anyway,
wonderful.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Greg. This has been a blessing.
Yes.
And I'll put in show notes how people can connect with Dart and with Samaritan's Purse. Is that right? You gave me
Yeah,
the link.
those links that I gave you, there's one about Dart and there's one about so I joke with people, I go to their website, but don't click on that thing up at the top that says get involved. Don't click there. Don't click there. Otherwise,
Because you're
because
going to,
you're gonna find an opportunity that fits you.
that's hilarious. Well,
Yeah,
God will get after them whatever way they click.
that's right.
Thank you,
Exactly.
Greg. Have a great day.
Okay. God bless your day.
Thank you.
Bye.